The winter nightmare in Texas continues, with millions still without clean drinking water. I'm Grady Trimble in Fort Worth. The latest on the relief efforts and the state's water crisis coming up.
Plus, a woman in Pittsburgh, Kansas celebrates her 101st birthday with an awesome gift, the COVID-19 vaccine. You'll get to meet this very special birthday girl. Meteorologist Nick Kelly has your weather. Danny Terzer's on sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks as always for tuning in. Following a deadly winter storm, Texas is now dealing with a major water crisis. Millions across the Lone Star State are without safe drinking water, with many still living in the dark. Fox News' Grady Trimble has the latest on the relief efforts.
Power has been restored to much of Texas, but the winter nightmare is far from over. Nearly half of the state is now under a boil water advisory, in part because frozen water pipes burst from the bitter cold. Officials say the electrical grid is back up and running, but some 60,000 customers are still dealing with power outages.
Without water and without like electricity and all that, it's just bad, man. It's just bad.
A major relief effort is underway. Water distribution sites have been set up across the state to take some of the pressure off grocery stores. In hard-hit Houston, lines stretch for miles, forcing people to wait hours just to get clean drinking water.
Up since 5 o'clock, and I've been on the road since 6. And I know it's at 11:30, but I'm going to sit here until, I have no choice. All the stores in my area are out of water.
On Saturday, President Biden partially approved a major disaster declaration in the Lone Star State, paving the way for more federal help. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, meanwhile, loosened restrictions for plumbers with expired or out-of-state licenses to help repair broken pipes as local plumbers struggle to meet the overwhelming demand.
You fix one and another one comes. You fix the other one. It's a never-ending story.
Temperatures in Texas are rising, bringing some relief to those still without heat, but the thaw could cause problems of its own, potentially making the state's water crisis even worse. In Fort Worth, Grady Trimble, Fox News.
New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joined Texas Representatives Sylvia Garcia and Sheila Jackson Lee at a Houston food bank today. During the visit, the three women joined a chain of volunteers and formed a human assembly line to pack food and other supplies for Texans in need. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez also announced she helped raise $3.2 million in assistance for people across the Lone Star State. Local businesses are teaming up to help out those in need in Houston. Texans taking shelter at Mattress Max Gallery Furniture Store got treated to a hot meal on Friday. They were served 300 breakfast tacos courtesy of the Guanajuato Supermarket and Nunn & Company Real Estate Properties. The Houston area gallery furniture stores have been turned into heated havens for Texans who are still without power. People are also coming from miles away to charge their phones, grab a hot cup of coffee, and warm up for a bit. The owner of Mattress Max is no stranger to giving back to the community and is known for helping those in need after numerous disasters. All right, it is time for a look at your first weather. Let's check in with meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick.
It was nice to see the sun out in full force, Mike. It took us from 16 this morning, tying the record low set back in 63, but 45 degrees, finally back above freezing since I don't know how long, but it was certainly nice. That felt like a heat wave compared to where we've been for much of this week. At the top of the 9 o'clock hour, nothing on the radar network right now, but cloud cover is slowly but surely starting to pick up across parts of Kansas and northern parts of Missouri ahead of our next storm system that wants to bring us some rain chances to wrap up the weekend. We'll have to watch for some drizzle overnight, and especially by sunrise with lows near 33. But despite the rain chances tomorrow, that south wind at 10 to 20 at least will push us back into the 40s for tomorrow. We'll break down what else to expect for the rest of the week later on in just a bit, Mike.
Sounds like a plan, Nick. Thanks as always. A woman in Pittsburgh, Kansas celebrated a milestone today, her 101st birthday. Along with that celebration, she also received a special gift, her COVID-19 vaccine. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more.
Mary Witt just turned 101 years old, but she didn't celebrate with a normal birthday party. Her birthday present was a second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Witt says she was overwhelmed with excitement when she saw that in addition to her vaccine, she received balloons along with a cake.
I never expected anything like this, and ever.
She says her second dose gives her a better sense of security.
I'm so glad now. See, I've had the second shot, so I feel 100% safe. Yes.
Mary Witt wasn't the only one to receive her vaccine today. Her daughter, Mary Susan Watchter, did too.
It's very unique, amazing, and we're just so happy that we're all getting to get it at the same time. To get it at all, but at least we've got the second shot now done, and I'm going to feel a lot better about it, and so is she and my husband as well.
Witt says now she feels safer than she has this whole pandemic. She's feeling even better about entering her 101st year. In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
It is now time for us to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize John Lewis of Carterville, Kansas. Lewis served as a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army and the Missouri National Guard. Thank you, sir, for your courage and your service. For more information on all our four-state heroes, or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we'll be checking out a couple of locations that suffered some extreme damage due to heavy snow, including this gas station in Chicago. That's coming up right after weather.
It was nice to see the sun back in action, and not only that, the sun that we saw over indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, and all across the area got us finally back above freezing for the first time, I want to say, since the Saturday before Super Bowl Sunday. So it has been a long stretch that we've seen temperatures well below the freezing point. Let's break down the temperatures. Yesterday, we were glad to get out of the single digits for lows and top out around 30, but once we got past our 16-degree low at Joplin Regional this morning, we hit 45 for the official afternoon high, and that certainly did plenty of work along with the sun and continuing to melt off our snow. Right now, we're still seeing quiet skies, 42 in Joplin, a south breeze at 14 miles per hour. We have 36 in Iola, 34 in Miami. Still trying to hold on to some lower 40s around the Joplin metro, but everyone is set for another cold night as overnight lows will drop back into the 30s ahead of our next wave on the way. So far, it's not doing anything here just yet. Still looking at a clean sweep on the radar network, but we are seeing more cloud cover picking up in our northern counties across southeastern Kansas and northwestern parts of Missouri. Make that southwestern parts of Missouri. That's more like it. Widening the view out from space, you don't think there's a lot happening, but just off to the west, as we put on the surface map, there is our next cold front, what will eventually be mainly a cold front that'll work out of the Rockies, head our way for tomorrow. That's going to pull in some moisture from the Gulf, and that will work together with an upper low coming out of the Rockies. Both of those systems together, they'll have to bring some rain chances our way, but let's break down how we think these rain chances will unfold as we go through the rest of the night. And so far, the Future Track doing a great job picking up on the cloud cover that's already developing out there across our northern counties right now. That being said, there is still the possibility that as the system works in, or begins to work in, and pick up some moisture, not going to rule out some patchy areas of drizzle overnight, but keep an eye on the thermometer. Some of you might be near the freezing mark as we go through the overnight hours. I say between 2 o'clock and up until we get to about sunrise, closer to 6 a.m. If some drizzle can get going, that could be maybe a few hours of very light freezing drizzle. I don't think this should amount to any major issues on the roads, but it's just something to keep in mind. But once we get that south wind into gear for tomorrow, even as the system works on through and gives us a better shot for scattered showers throughout the day, look at temperatures well back above freezing, back into the 40s for most of you. So 33 in the morning, 41 by noon, afternoon highs right around 43. Even with the cloud cover, I think we'll do it with that south wind at 10 to 20. Then we will see the rain chances taper off going into Sunday evening, and looking downright good for Monday. Under mostly sunny skies, I think we could be back near 50 degrees as the new work week and school week gets underway. So with this system on the way, nothing wintry expected, and as far as any rain amounts go, not too impressive with what I'm seeing. Maybe a tenth of an inch at worst. So at the very least, we're not seeing any big storm systems to wrap up this weekend to kick off next week. 49 for Monday under mostly sunny skies, pushing near 60 on Tuesday. That's going to feel like a heat wave before we see another system with rain and possibly some snow chances Wednesday and Thursday. Then I'm watching another system by next weekend. But Mike, it is great to be out of the deep freeze, and I, for one, am just glad to be done with it.
Yeah, hallelujah. I couldn't agree more. All right, Nick, we will check back in just a bit. A Wisconsin school will have to look for a new home to educate their children after heavy snow caused major damage to their current building. Fox News' Cassidy Williams explains.
Ceiling tiles on the floor and wires dangling. These pictures show only the parts of the building members of the Great Lakes Church were able to get to safely. The Sonnenberg School, which shares the building, is still waiting to see the full extent of the damage.
Because no one can go in at this point and assess what is salvageable, what is not, what we can recover, and what's just gone. It's a little bit of a guessing game.
Principal Heather Wenthold-Barch got a call Tuesday morning, learning all of the snow had become too much for the school's roof.
The weight of the roof had actually collapsed the beams in the roof structure, causing everything to collapse down inside. So unfortunately, that meant that everything in that space has been destroyed, if not because of the weight, because of the water main pipe that broke when the roof fell in.
Assuming everything is gone, the school is working to get things back to normal, something particularly important for the students with special needs they serve.
Our children often struggle with transition, they struggle with change, they struggle with the unknown, and unfortunately these circumstances are throwing all three of those barriers into their path.
The school is using an Amazon registry to try and replace supplies, hoping to fill up a new space as soon as possible.
To have to move them to virtual right now in the face of this kind of catastrophic set of events is setting them back a little bit.
Heavy snow was also causing destruction in the Windy City. Here you can see a collapsed gas station canopy in suburban Elmwood Park. Fortunately, the cars underneath were empty and no one was hurt. Chicago could see more incidents like this over the weekend as temperatures warm up and snow begins to melt. Still to come, we'll learn about some big changes being planned by the Biden administration. Plus, Australia has a mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy, and plenty of Australians were hopping mad about it. Details are right around the corner. President Biden got a first-hand look at the U.S. vaccination effort on Friday during a visit to a Pfizer manufacturing plant in Michigan. Fox News' Peter Ducey has details on that trip and more on the changes planned by the Biden administration.
On a tour that included freezers set to 70 below zero and a state-of-the-art assembly line, President Biden seemed most impressed with quality control.
It takes more time to do the check for safety than it does actually to make the vaccine. That's how fastidious they are.
And they're fast. This Pfizer factory produces 700,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine per hour, but snow and cold are complicating things.
Look what's happening with the weather now, for example, slowing up the distribution.
Biden believes there was a bigger problem with vaccines, though: President Trump.
My predecessor, as my mother would say, God love him, failed to order enough vaccines, failed to mobilize the effort to administer the shots, failed to set up vaccine centers. That changed the moment we took office.
Biden is upending President Trump's foreign policy, too.
I'm sending a clear message to the world. America is back.
Back to the Obama era when it comes to combating climate change.
And as of today, the United States is officially, once again, a party to the Paris Agreement, which we helped put together.
And diplomacy with Tehran, as the administration signals it's willing to work with Europe on a redo of the Iran nuclear deal.
We're going to work in close cooperation with our European and other partners as we proceed. We'll also work together to lock down fissile and radiological material to prevent terrorist groups from acquiring and using them.
He'd like to team up with Europe to take on China, too.
Competition with China is going to be stiff. That's what I expect, and that's what I welcome.
That competition he sees as president wasn't there when he was a candidate talking China.
They're not bad folks, but guess what? They're not competition for us.
President Biden doesn't want global competition for the COVID-19 vaccine, committing $4 billion to send doses to low and middle income countries.
It's not enough that we find cures for Americans. There needs to be a cure that the world is able to take part of, because you can't build a wall or a fence high enough to keep a pandemic out.
In the United States, he sees getting shots as a patriotic duty.
Please, for yourself, your family, your community, this country, take the vaccine when it's your turn and available.
He joked it was available to the traveling press corps today.
I don't know if you all got that. 351,000 doses in one pellet.
We have the needles, so come on up.
The president joked about handing it out, but that's not how it works. And he later got more serious, acknowledging that there are people in this country who need the COVID-19 vaccine and are being told to go online, but they either don't have access or they don't know how. In Jackson, Michigan, Peter Ducey, Fox News.
Anti-vaccination protests pop up around Australia today as the country prepares for COVID-19 vaccination rollouts. Demonstrators in several Australian cities were raising their voices against the mandatory vaccination policy. Protesters walked the streets of Sydney carrying signs and chanting against the policy. In Brisbane, the demonstrations took the form of a sit-in, and in Melbourne, some protesters walked through parks and various roads. Hotel and healthcare workers will be among the first to be vaccinated in Australia on Monday. All right, we are not done talking about the Biden administration just yet. And when we return, we will take a closer look at how President Biden is dismantling former President Trump's immigration policy. That story and more are next. Welcome back. President Biden is dismantling the Trump immigration program. The Biden administration is allowing tens of thousands of asylum seekers into the U.S. as they wait for their claims to be heard. Fox News' William Lajeunesse takes a look.
We do not have the resources available to house and accommodate these migrants within our community.
An urgent plea to President Biden from the Democratic mayor of Del Rio, Texas.
I am pleading and requesting with you to please put a halt to any measures regarding the release of immigrants awaiting court dates.
Friday, the Biden administration dumped President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy, releasing 25 asylum seekers into the U.S.
It is just such a sense of hope and relief that something concrete now is happening.
So to say that we're going to start bringing in more people, it is of concern.
Health experts say admitting up to 300 foreign nationals a day, which is President Biden's goal, risks spreading the virus.
The last thing we want to do is introduce even more variants without identifying them first.
Yet other migrants cross illegally and dangerously. A woman gave birth Saturday on the banks of the Rio Grande in freezing temperatures. An X-ray found these men crammed in a tractor trailer. And rescues are almost double from last year.
If you're coming from Honduras, Guatemala, you can pay anywhere between $2,000 to $6,000. It strictly depends on where you want to go, how you want to get in, what sector you're going to cross in. So it's an awful lot of money.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, visiting the border, says the Democrats' immigration bill is DOA with the GOP.
If you don't change the magnets to illegal immigration, it will never stop. People will keep coming by the thousands to hundreds of thousands.
Right now, the border is closed because of COVID, allowing Border Patrol agents to turn back 90% of all migrants without a hearing. But that is going to end. And when it does, they fear, they're going to be overrun without help from Congress. In Nogales, Arizona, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
President Biden says he is halting the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Germany, while what's called a global force posture review is underway. This may also affect plans for getting U.S. troops out of Afghanistan. Fox News' Jennifer Griffin reports from the Pentagon.
President Biden inherited 6 military branches with more than 170,000 U.S. troops deployed around the world. And while American presidents always vow to bring U.S. troops home, President Biden reversed course today from the last administration, vowing to leave all U.S. troops in Germany. In remarks to the Munich Defense Conference, he halted what many viewed as President Trump's attempt to punish his rival Angela Merkel.
I'm also lifting the cap imposed by the previous administration on the number of U.S. forces able to be based in Germany.
At NATO this week, allies pressed the U.S. to bolster troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has ordered the Pentagon to review U.S. troop numbers around the world as a May 1st deadline to withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan approaches.
We are mindful of the looming deadlines, but we want to do this methodically and deliberately. The United States will not undertake a hasty or disorderly withdrawal from Afghanistan that puts their forces or the alliance's reputation at risk.
President Trump pulled 10,000 troops from Afghanistan, reducing the number to 2,500 last year. This is the lowest level of American forces there since 2001, as the U.S. crosses the one-year mark without a U.S. combat death in the country, the first time in 2 decades. The U.S. has 1,000 troops in Brussels at NATO headquarters, nearly 1,000 troops in Cuba to guard 40 prisoners at Guantanamo Bay, 34,000 U.S. troops in Germany, up to 65,000 at any given time at bases in the Persian Gulf, and more than 50,000 American troops are based in Japan, along with 28,500 in South Korea. 2,500 U.S. troops remain in Iraq.
Every president vows to bring U.S. troops home, but at the end of 4 or 8 years, the total numbers deployed overseas tend to remain almost exactly the same. Those who were withdrawn from Afghanistan or Iraq tend to get rebased in the phalanx of other bases across the Middle East. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
We'll be right back with more news. Don't go anywhere. Summer travel is expected to return in 2021 thanks to COVID-19 vaccines. And as a result, the Transportation Security Administration will hire thousands of people to keep pace with it. The TSA says they will hire about 6,000 new workers by the summer. National recruiting is already underway to fill screening operations at about 430 airports nationwide. The TSA is encouraging military veterans and people with disabilities to apply. A rare moonflower cactus has bloomed at Cambridge University's Botanic Garden. It's believed to be a first for the United Kingdom. The greenhouse team at the garden monitored the cactus for days because they didn't want to miss the opening up of its flower. The petals normally begin opening at sunset and are fully arrayed by sunrise. But this moonflower was an early bloomer and began blossoming this afternoon. The flower is about 11 inches in diameter and gives off a sweet-smelling fragrance as it blooms. The cactus lives on tree trunks and is normally found in the Amazon. All right, we'll stay right there because we've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another weather update with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. That's all coming up right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, it just seems like the Lone Star State can't catch a break. You'll learn about a Texas hotel fire that displaced residents, some of whom were checked in to avoid the freezing weather and power outages. That story and more are next. A massive fire displaced guests at a hotel in Texas. The fire broke out at the 102-room Hilton Garden Inn in Kaleen on Friday. Huge walls of flames could be seen coming from the upper floors of the hotel as firefighters worked to fight the structure fire. The flames displaced numerous people from the hotel, some of them staying there due to the loss of power and water from this week's ice and snowstorms. Some minor injuries were reported and 2 people took themselves to a local hospital for smoke inhalation. The cause of the fire is not yet known. At least 3 people are dead following a shooting at a gun shop in Louisiana today. Investigators say a disagreement inside the Jefferson gun outlet resulted in somebody shooting 2 people. Others inside the store engaged in a shootout and hit the suspect. Both victims inside the store and the suspect were pronounced dead at the scene. 2 others were rushed to the hospital and are in stable condition. 45 beached whales were stuck in shallow waters off of Indonesia's Madura island on Friday. According to local officials, only 3 of the short-finned pilot whales survived the mass stranding. Volunteers and local police were able to rescue and push the 3 whales back into the sea, but the others weren't so fortunate. The carcasses will be removed from the shore and buried around the coast. Authorities say the incident is being investigated. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather.
There was no other way to describe this Saturday other than as amazing. Sunny skies for much of the day before we saw the cloud cover build late this evening, but that beautiful time lapse from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, and all across the region had an impact on temperatures again, taking us out of the teens into the mid-40s, so the temperatures and the sun, all of them doing their part to continue to melt away all this snow. 42 in Joplin right now, so thankfully still above freezing. South breeze at 14, though. It makes it feel like 35 outside if you're out and about late this evening. 36 in Fort Scott, Welch, Parsons, 39 in Columbus. Still some lower 40s around Lamar, Carthage, and even downtown Joplin. Those are going to be the exceptions, though. We will see everybody, though, drop back into the 30s as we continue to venture deeper into the overnight, while our next storm system's on the way. It's not doing anything yet. We're still dry on the radar network, although after a mostly sunny and, again, beautiful Saturday, we are seeing the cloud cover pick back up. So far across our northern county, that is unfolding the way that we are expecting. You're saying how what's unfolding? Well, the first glimpse doesn't look like anything on the surface map, but once we plot everything down, we actually have a cold front sneaking in from the west. That, along with an upper-level low coming out of Utah and Colorado. Both of those working together to bring in rain chances to wrap up the weekend, but fortunately, this is not an impressive system, and, if I haven't said it enough, just rain chances with this next system. So let's talk about it now with the future track here. Again, doing a great job picking up in the cloud cover, building back up out there, but temperatures during the night will be in the lower to middle 30s, and as this next storm system works in, there will be some pockets of drizzle that can develop. You may need to keep an eye on your thermometer, though, because if you can hit 32, 31, or even 30 at worst case, some of that drizzle could be a little bit of freezing drizzle, but I'm not expecting this to be a big issue at all, because you can see as we run through the future track, it doesn't say below freezing for long. In fact, everybody should be in the mid-30s by sunrise, and with the strong south wind throughout the day ahead of this storm system, we'll just deal with just rain chances and still be able to get temperatures back into the 40s before the day is all said and done. So 33 in the morning, 41 by noon, afternoon highs around 43. After these showers fade away by early Sunday evening, we are dry for Monday and Tuesday. So with this wave, not looking impressive. Rain amounts at worst might be a tenth of an inch, not looking like a big deal whatsoever. So Monday, we're back to mostly sunny skies near 50. Partly sunny Tuesday, highs pushing near 60. That's going to feel hot compared to where we've been since, Tuesday morning when we hit minus 15 at the airport. Wednesday, a midweek system could bring in some rain chances Wednesday and maybe end us a few random rain or snow showers Thursday. But sticking with Doug's pattern, once we get past a quiet Friday, we'll watch for next weekend storm system that could actually start as rain on Saturday and end maybe as a wintry mix by that following Sunday. But 43 tomorrow, near 50 on Monday, near 60 on Tuesday. Even with the systems on the way, Mike, 40s and 50s for highs, I will take that over this bitterly cold that we've seen this past week.
Yeah, I agree, Nick. And hey, Nick, check this out. I know a lot of Americans are suffering in the snow right now, but it looks like our neighbors up in Canada are having some fun with the weather that they are used to. In fact, they have created the world's largest snow maze, which is now open to visitors. This year's maze is even bigger than the ones they have built in the past, and one of the owners says it's because of COVID-19. That extra space makes it easier for maze explorers to adhere to social distancing guidelines. The massive maze measures 240 feet by 240 feet and took 6 weeks to build. All right, well, stick around, sports fans. We'll be right back with Danny Terzer and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas make the short drive across the state line today. They head to Missouri Southern's place for a much-anticipated rivalry game. The last meeting between the two teams was just a 3-point game. The Gorillas squeaked out the win. Today, here's Tristan Gegg driving to the basket. She gets the bucket and the foul. Sydney Crane from outside the arc. She gets 3, 16 points in this one. Amaya Johns now looking, but going herself. That's 3. Lions held to just 6 points in the second quarter. Gegg again taking it all the way in for 2. The Gorillas are heading home with the win today. Final score 78-60.
The biggest thing is you had to try to keep them out of the paint. And in the first half, we didn't do a very good job of keeping them out of the paint. And the second half, we did a little bit better job, but we got to get better defensively. Our last 4 ball games, we've given up 78 points every ball game. So the biggest thing is defense. We got to make sure we got to do a much better job of guarding.
On the men's side, the stakes are high. With a PSU win, the Gorillas would sweep the season series for the first time in 14 years. Kicking it off is Cam Martin with a 3. He wasted no time getting going. Then, it's Hardwick Jr. getting to the basket. Pitt State struggles early. Cam Martin, same spot, drains another. He had 6 threes and 25 points in this one. RJ Smith gets up, comes down with the two-handed jam. Lions are rolling. Missouri Southern finishes on top, 93-74.
It's always a great feeling we beat Pitt State. It's a big rivalry, so came out here very energized. I took a tough loss last time, so we want to come out here and make a statement.
I think we're a total different basketball team than we were a month and a half, whenever that was, back in December, January. We're playing way differently. We had Winston and Bundy back, so that was really big for us too. And we're just playing really good basketball right now. We talked about it all season. It's not how you start out, as long as we're getting better and better each game.
Boys basketball this evening, featuring Pittsburgh and Fort Scott. The 10-6 Purple Dragons have won 6 of their last 7. Pittsburgh put up 76 points in Friday's game. Tonight, they'll aim for their 5th straight win. First quarter, Jesse Comstock driving, gets the bucket and one. Responding, Javon Grant takes the pass and drops the triple. Pittsburgh takes the lead. Then it's Grant to Mason English in the corner. He puts down 3 more. Then it's Grant again. This time, the pass to LJ Butcher for the easy layup. Pittsburgh finishes this one off, 68-42. The Pittsburgh girls fell tonight to Fort Scott. The final in this one was 44-25. Pittsburgh is 11-6 now, but they've dropped their last 3 games. The Fort Scott girls, on the other hand, look to be trending in the right direction. They've won their last 2. The 7-13 Webb City girls play host to 9-10 Neosho. Both teams are looking to bounce back after recent losses. The Wildcats have hit a bit of a rough patch in their schedule. Tonight, Neosho aims to get back on track. First quarter, quick ball movement to Sierra Kimbrough in the corner. She drops the 3. Then, her pass to JD Duda at the far wing. She drops another 3. Webb City leads. Wildcats responding. It's Michelle Lindsay. She gets the layup to fall. Later in the quarter, Mallory Stanley driving. The floater is good. To the second now. Olivia Hickson. She takes the pass on the wing. Triple is good. Brings Neosho within 6. But Webb City will get the win, 54-35. We'll be right back with more news.
Welcome back. Recently released body cam footage shows 2 women in Florida who dressed up as grannies so they could get a COVID-19 vaccine in a state where eligibility is currently for those 65 and older. They actually did get their first shots, but they were stopped by deputies when they went in for their second shots. Fox News' Valerie Boy has that story.
It all happened here at the Orange County Convention Center on Wednesday morning. The incident caught on body cam. This granny imposter pulls up with another woman to get their vaccine, but instead of getting a shot, they're given a scolding. Listen to this deputy on body cam.
You've stolen a vaccine from somebody that needs it more than you. And now you're not going to get your second one. So that's a whole waste of time we just wasted here on this.
Deputies say 2 women arrived at the Orange County Convention Center with dates of birth that didn't match the ones they used to register for the vaccines. We spoke to one woman who's been waiting since December to get her vaccine, and she was not happy to hear about these fake grannies.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong. Any kid who uses a fake ID gets a 3rd-degree misdemeanor. So, no, they should be punished.
It's kind of sad. It's hard to get all this distributed among anybody, no matter what age.
Deputies did not hold back their thoughts.
We're not even sure if they're going to press charges against you and take you to jail right now. But just for your selfishness of stealing a vaccine.
They realize it's no joke. The duo avoids an arrest for now.
This is a trespass warning. You're hereby warned that you are not authorized, licensed, or invited to be in these premises and may be arrested if you refuse to leave.
With demand for vaccines at an all-time high, this deputy says,
So you gotta wait your turn.
And the women are ages 34 and 44 years old. Of course, you have to be 65 and up to get a vaccine.
Russia is reporting its first cases of a strain of bird flu virus known as H5N8. Russian authorities say 7 workers at a poultry plant in southern Russia were infected with the H5N8 virus during an outbreak in December, and they have all recovered. The virus is being passed from birds to people, but researchers say there is no sign of person-to-person transmission. The World Health Organization is investigating, and outbreaks of the H5N8 strain have also been reported in Europe, China, the Middle East, and North Africa. All right, we are not done yet here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we have got a big treat for the dog lovers in the audience. We have got multiple canine-themed stories coming up, including one about a husky who is back home safe after going missing for more than a month. Stay tuned. A missing husky who was lost in the Arizona wilderness for more than a month is back home safe. Fox News' Bailey Miller explained how they rescued that poor pup.
After 42 days, these are the first moments Kronk the Husky was reunited with his mom.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I was missing him.
He first went missing in January when the family from Buckeye went on a vacation in Aspen Corner below Snowbowl. He had escaped from his owners, and that's when Teresa Schumann, the owner of the Northern Arizona Animal Search and Rescue, got involved, searching and tracking Kronk.
Didn't know where he was coming from. There was so many tracks going different directions every time we went out there.
And there were plenty of sightings of Kronk from the community. And one time, Schumann and her team even got a call of a husky in the area that turned out to be a false alarm.
We raced out. We put a trap up. Ended up being a different dog we had no clue was even missing. And we found that out, a week later, that the dog was even missing.
Finally, though, one man said a husky was coming to his home every day to eat his dog's food. Teresa and her team arrived, and finally, after putting out a trap, thanks to the help of Yavapai humane trappers and an independent trapper, they finally caught the husky they were looking for.
I was until he actually left to go back to Phoenix, it really hadn't hit me.
Now he's back at home in Buckeye with his family, getting all the pets and love he's missed out on.
We are not done talking about rescued dogs. Chicago firefighters helped out a dog trapped on the ice in the Windy City. A pup named Bessie managed to climb onto a large piece of ice on Lake Michigan and got stranded. The Chicago Fire Department's Marine unit was able to reach Bessie and bring her back to solid ground. The department tweeted, "Her owners are very happy now, and the Australian Labradoodle will be more careful." I'll bet. A Marine sergeant is now reunited with her old partner, a bomb-sniffing dog. After being separated for more than a year, Bogey and her trainer Angela are together again. The two first met while Angela was stationed overseas and tasked with training the canine. She says she wasn't thrilled to have the job at first, but quickly grew to love Bogey. The partners were separated when the sergeant was reassigned, but Angela had always dreamed of adopting Bogey when her service was done, and now that day is here. A recent injury gave Bogey an early retirement and the opportunity to spend the rest of her life with her best friend and her partner. All right, my dogs Peanut and Chico have been cooped inside, so I thought I would give them some more dog stories to end the show. Maybe a cheeseburger too, we'll see. All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in this Saturday evening. We'll see you tomorrow for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night.